Hey, Sean. We're Hey, Matt. Look, Matt just joined us. Give us the Corona fist bump. Yep. Matt, of course, Matt Cummings with WCPT, because we are here working in. Sean, what would you call it? In conjunction,
In
partnership. With WCPT and the Joan Esposito Show, we are coming to you live from Smart 265,
out here in
which
Carroll Stream.
I mean, been working hard. Not hardly working today, because I tell you, before this, we were actually at IBW 1220 arranging for our guest John Rizzo coming on. Got to turn that down. Get that feedback. John Rizzo is going to be on our show, who represents broadcasters at CBS, WGN, WCIU, WTTW. Is going to come on, talk about what broadcasters are facing with the changing dynamic industry. We always like to shed light on labor and what labor is doing, and that's the reason we're here. That's the reason we're at Smart
Smart 265 sheet metal.
Yeah, with the sheet metal workers. And we'll be coming to you, like I said, in conjunction with Joan Esposito, who's scheduled to start at 2:00.
Yeah.
Sean, take it from here, bud.
Yeah, so what we like to do now, because we're in partnership with WCPT, we're going to be kind of going live from certain locations and kind of showcasing certain different political people as well as union leaders, but no better place than coming live from Smart 265. John Daniel was nice enough to have us on. We're going to have him come on the show in a little bit, and we're going to talk about unions, and we're going to have, in conjunction with Joan Esposito, who's got a nice lineup. Why don't you show them the lineup of of political candidates that are going to come on and talk about their story?
But you know, as it said, our show is less about politics and what you can do for the labor movement. So we got a good lineup, but we're going to ask them what are the labor issues that they're focusing on. And that is WCPT checking their audio to make sure it's good. They obviously got first bids on what's going on. I will also say I'd be remiss if we didn't thank Sarah Sadat, who is remotely helping us with this broadcast, all the IT functions that go on here. She's taking care of over there. So thank you, Sarah, for putting up with Sean and myself freaking out sometimes.
Yeah, and it is it is going live. There are people behind us moving around, moving and shaking, making things look good for the incredible Joan Esposito, who will be going live from 265 Smart in Carroll Stream 2 to 5, and she will be interviewing all of these incredible candidates as well throughout DuPage County.
I think it's actually interesting to see, like, the show that you hear when she comes on here. It doesn't just start at 2:00, but this is some of the stuff that goes on in the background. It takes a lot of work. They're out here moving all this equipment, doing what they got to do. So it's just when we're not setting up our equipment, just kind of very interesting to see how that takes place. So it's kind of a behind the scenes you're getting on our show about what you're going to hear on that show at 2:00.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's nice about this lineup that we have that's going on Joan Esposito show is that, myself and Roz have had actually a great opportunity to sit and interview a lot of them. At the 2 p.m. hour, you have Mary Jo Mullen running for County Board District 5. We had the privilege of sitting with her last 2 weeks ago on Sunday, and she got to tell us about everything she's got going on running, and she's an elected Lisle Township supervisor, which is great. You have Greg Schwarzy, County Board District 6, and a sitting trustee. He'll be coming on in a couple hours. And and the list goes on. Ken Mejia Beal, Jeanette DeFelice, Jeff Jacobson, Azam Nizamuddin, and we're going to be having Bill White on tomorrow night in Facebook Live, and you can check us out on Facebook and YouTube. So this is kind of a different live take, live from a union hall, which obviously myself and Roz are union leaders, which is exciting. And it's important to tell our story and the people that help make this story possible with all these candidates and all the powers that be.
Well, you're absolutely right. Just like we were talking about the mechanisms of what it takes to get something on live television, live radio, there's a lot of mechanisms in getting a strong labor movement out there. And that's what we've always been trying to voice is, at least at our union, I'll say mobilization, organization, are very key components. And that's something we've worked on. And you see kind of behind the scenes how we go out there and we try to talk to our people, see the concerns. Labor is all about working conditions, wages. I mean, just the things that affect the daily life that try to build a strong middle class.
Yeah.
You hear a lot about middle class.
Yeah.
It's like a unicorn, isn't it? You hear about it, but has anyone seen it?
That mysterious middle class that everyone likes to talk about. And now we're going to hear firsthand from these candidates and elected officials on how do we build this middle class. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is no middle class without the labor movement. And we like to draw attention to all the incredible people doing it. And like I say, in a little bit, we're going to have President John Daniels with 265 Smart Workers, sheet metal. And we're going to talk about and kind of dig in a little bit the importance of unions and the role that we play within the political realm. And it's not so much what politicians can do for us, but really what the middle class and the union leadership can do for these politicians, because Lord knows they need us.
And I'm
Probably more
telling
than
you,
than we need them.
very much it's part of holding them accountable. It's not enough to get people who claim to be labor friendly into the right office, but then to hold them accountable once they're in that office, making sure that they are doing what they promised. Because how often do we hear promises being made and never kept? It's something that, in my role as vice president at NABET Local 41, I strive very hard to keep, because you're answerable to your membership, just like all these politicians at the end of the day are answerable to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where we come in to keep them accountable and to put a platform. I think a platform that the union leadership and membership maybe hasn't had in a while. We have a lot of great speakers, and the incredible Joan Esposito just walked in behind us, and she will be going live on 8:20, 2 to 5 p.m. But I think from hearing it from a labor perspective, as of two, I'd say youngish labor leaders that are kind of trying to get their name in the movement and trying to show a story to all these incredible people and how they work day in and day out, I think is kind of been a lacking thing for the labor movement.
Well, no, I absolutely agree. We represent communication workers. We also, thank you for pointing that out. A communication worker doesn't know to bring the mic closer,
exactly.
Right? But at the same time, what we always see in our field is, we're communication workers, but sometimes we lack in the realm of communication. And I think Sean and I wanted to put a voice to what it is we do in the labor movement by capitalizing on just that, the technology out there, video, audio, and just make ourselves more relevant in terms of what it is we're doing, and highlight what it is that labor does in Illinois. People hear Chicago's a union town. What does that mean? Well, you're going to find out what it means by tuning into this show. That's why we have the best labor leaders who we can get coming on there and sharing the message of what it is they do. I mean, it's just a very unique opportunity. That's at least how I feel.
Absolutely. And it is a different thing. We are going to be coming different times. Tomorrow night, we have a live broadcast coming for our Facebook Live as well as YouTube, 7 p.m.
I think it's multiple platforms. I think that's what's interesting.
Absolutely.
You got to get out there. You got to get your message out there, not just the old traditional way, but emerging technologies, and just kind of figure out what's the best way to let people know what's going on in your labor movement. Yeah. And this is a key component.
And we want any questions and concerns, because we're voicing our opinions and bringing what we do day in and day out to the different platforms of people. And we want also some feedback on how we can make it better and how the labor movement can grow and change in an ever changing world.
I gotta ask you, Sean. So you've done quite a bit of our Facebook stuff. We've been on smaller stations, but tell me what it means to you to be part of WCPT. I know that it's been a journey to get there, but tell us what it means to be part of that lineup.
Well,
that team.
The thing about WCPT is that it is a progressive radio voice that is. There's so many voices against unions. There's thousands and thousands of anti-union, anti-progressive radio stations, and I think it's important, especially WCPT, to keep that positive energy going towards good elected officials, towards the union movement. And I can't say how proud I am and excited that we are part of WCPT, and we can be part of that great movement that have had so many great voices over the years, both progressive and union, telling our story. That's kind of a story that doesn't always get the attention and credibility that it deserves.
Well, and I think, again, part of it is because there haven't been the voices out there kind of telling what it is we're doing. And that's why I'm happy to work in conjunction with yourself, Sean, and other people who come on to spread the message of what their locals are doing, what they're bringing to the labor movement. And thank you guys, obviously, for tuning in and listening to the message. Hey, like I always say, you're not always going to agree with us. Sometimes you're going to firmly disagree. But thank you for inviting us in to at least give a voice to our ideas and platforms. And what else you can do, as I always plug, is write in comments, engage us, question us, fight with us, because at the end of the day, let's have a productive conversation. Let's have a dialogue. It's not just two guys talking to you. This should be a very interactive platform where we get to share and express ideas.
Well, the beauty of this too is the importance of bridging gaps. You're with CWA NABET 41. That's more of a white collar union movement, right?
I like to call it a blue collar movement, but heavy starch on the blue collar.
Exactly.
But we, it's like it's a guild. We go out there, we represent journalists working conditions, which is very different than what the building trades, for instance, does.
Yeah, and then you have the representation of the bricklayers. We're bricklayers, tile, terrazzo, marble, precast, tuck pointing, that kind of that down and dirty, rough and gruff, tough kind of building and everything construction. We survive and thrive off development. And, you know, when we talk politics, so many of these great people that are running for office, they dictate control and kind of push our agenda, which is development. And that's the only way we're going to survive. And my business is to keep building and developing projects so that all of our members can work.
You know, it's all about keeping the membership working. We were talking about this yesterday as well. And I mean, what's going on with the coronavirus with McCormick Place? There have been conventions which have pulled out. And I was talking to John Rizzo at IBW. This is directly impacting people in his local, and I'm sure other locals as well, because these are people who are supposed to be out there working who are just not getting that opportunity. And again, there's a health crisis, so we have to be sensitive to that. But it's all about discussing this and seeing what the challenges we are facing are and how we can work collectively to overcome these.
And really understanding that the union movement is behind all these challenges, and they're really behind these driving forces, both politically, both the workforce, and really everything else. I don't think, like I say, the union ever gets enough credit for how much action that they take on every level. And it's our job, and we do it with Life, Love, and the Grind, is to kind of show light on all that the union movement's doing from every walk of life, you know, from Will County, like we had last week or last Sunday, yesterday, and then all the way into the heart of Chicago, which is the start and the birthplace of the labor movement. And we continue to fight hard every day.
Absolutely. And so we'll join you as we get closer to this. And thank you again for speaking with us.
Yeah.